Hey everyone, Jackie here with Enjoying Life's Journey. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do February's Budget with Me video. If you watched January's, you'll notice that I actually budgeted January and February together. So today's budget shouldn't take us too long. We're just going to kind of clean it up a little bit to make it fresh for the new month. And basically, if you're not familiar with the channel, we do live full-time in our RV and we are completely debt-free. So our budget may not look like a typical budget, but you're welcome to follow along and create your own budget with me. And hopefully I can give you a couple ideas of how to do your budget. As well, I did a separate video on how I made my spreadsheet here. So I'll link that in the description box if you guys want to follow that one to find out how I made my budget spreadsheet. So otherwise, let's jump in. So usually when I create a budget, I'm creating a fresh budget at the beginning of every month, or I try to do it a couple days before the next month, that way I'm prepared. And sometimes I even budget 2 months out, so that way I know if I have any bills or anything that's coming up that's not monthly and I need to make sure I plan ahead for them. As well, when Ricky and I were working, so currently we're not working, we'll probably Ricky will probably be picking up a job here in March. But basically, when we were working, if we had specific bills due before a certain paycheck, the following month we knew we had to roll over a certain amount. So that's why I try to budget a little bit ahead so we have a better idea. So what I'm going to do, because I already have my template set up, is I'm just going to copy it and paste it right next to it. So when you copy and paste, a lot of times it's going to look like this. It's going to be condensed into shorter rows, and you're going to see number signs because everything's not out. So at the very top, you may not be able to see it on my screen where you have your letters. I'm just going to double click on each row or column, and it's going to spread it out for me. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. I'm going to briefly go over my columns for you and my rows just so you have an idea of how I budget. I follow Dave Ramsey's zero-base budget. So I try to make sure I tell every single dollar where it's going to go, whether it's for a specific bill or a savings account or something like that. That way I'm prepared. I basically have, on the top here, I have my source, so what the bill is. I have my budgeted amount, and then here, currently, because we are not working, I only have one column, and those typically are my different paychecks. Dave Ramsey also has another form that does the same idea, where you want to budget out each individual week or each individual paycheck in addition to the whole month. That way, again, you can prepare for bills ahead of time and you're never late on anything. So for now, because we're only dealing with basically our income right now is our savings, so we're living off of savings right now. So we're just going to keep this as just a blank column. It's no date associated with it. And then I have it set up so then it tells me at the end of the month how much I've actually spent in each of those categories. And then on the side here I have all of our categories. So we'll go over that as I work my way down the budget. But here I wanted to show you I do have this balance column, and this is if I put any cash into our cash envelopes, I know how much cash I still have on hand there. And then due dates are for bills that have a due date, and then scheduled. If I were scheduling them out ahead of time, I would put the date I scheduled it. However, everything I have is set that has a due date is set on an automatic payment, so it's basically comes out the day it's due, which I recommend doing. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this to just February. And then I'm going to go ahead and clear out my payments here for the month. We won't be working with those same numbers right now. So income here. So if we are working, Ricky and I have a separate column for work. I get paid from Google AdSense for the ads played on my YouTube videos. And they pay, you have to reach $100 for the month before they issue you a pay. So the pay I had for January was actually for 2 months ahead of time. I did not make enough in January, so I will not get a pay in February. Same thing, Amazon. I have Amazon AdSense, so you'll notice some of my links in my descriptions are an Amazon affiliate link, and I get a very small commission. I have accounts set up to pay me once I make $10. Honestly, I've only made maybe $13 on there, so nothing significant, so I don't plan on getting paid in February for that as well. Now, rollover, that's going to be what I have left from the current month, and I keep here, like I said, I have my balance of my cash on hand, and then I have my balance of what's actually in the bank account. So I want to make sure I have my numbers added up first. So I know my rollover is actually $1,700, if you guys can see that, $1,717.47. So that's going to be my new rollover amount. So that's how I know what I'm having, what I'm going to be working with for February. And so again, I'm going to take those out. And I'm going to go ahead and put in here that that's how much I have. So this is how much we actually have for February's budget. Now, we are waiting for a few documents to finish out our tax information. I do everything off of TurboTax, so we are waiting. You know, like I mentioned, we live in the RV full time. We also travel. We do seasonal work camping jobs. So this year our taxes was quite a bit different. We worked in Arizona. We had 2 different jobs in Arizona, or at least I had 2 different jobs in Arizona. Ricky had 1 in Arizona. We had the sugar beet harvest in North Dakota, and we worked for Amazon in Kentucky. So we're waiting for all of the W-2s and everything to make sure we can file taxes. Usually we have everything by now, and we would have already filed, and we usually have our refund about mid-February. I'm not going to count that for February's budget. One, I don't know the exact amount yet, so we have to feel that out, and plus because I'll be filing it a little later. Also, a few of you did mention that they are kind of holding some of the refunds, just double checking, making sure that there's no identity theft and all that going on, which is totally understandable. So I would probably think we'll probably see that money closer to March. Anyway, so we're just going to count for February what we have. So our next category are all of our expenses. Now, a lot of the financial gurus out there say pay yourself first, which they're basically meaning your 401ks and your emergency fund. I've also added a few other areas that I count as are paying ourselves first, which are the girls' homeschool, and mine and Ricky's personal development, as well as healthcare, because we do not have insurance at the moment. For the purpose of this month, because we are kind of just living off of our savings, I'm not going to add anything to those areas this month. Giving, we have Arcadia's birthday actually in February. So we are actually going to be heading back. We have some work we have to get done on the RV, and we can't get it done until we get our tax refund. So we're kind of stuck here at my brother's house. We're just in his driveway in Texas, and we've just been using the car to go explore everything around Texas, so that's been okay, but we can't move the RV until we can have it fixed. We mentioned too that Ricky's probably going to find a job in March, but we're actually going to go back to Arizona. So we were talking with Arcadia about doing a birthday party once we get back to Arizona. So I may not budget anything here for February yet. Necessities. So these are basically anything that we count as a necessity. So your situation is going to be different. So again, January, I budgeted what I needed for January and February. We did pretty good staying on budget. Some of the categories we actually didn't even have to spend any money in January. So I am going to adjust the budget slightly. All right, so groceries, I try to do $10 a day, so however many days are in the month is how much I budget. February, we have 28 days, so I'm going to do, in this month, we actually ended up spending about $10.75 a day, so I'm going to increase our budget to $11 a day for February. $308. The car, I'm going to go ahead and just put $80. RV gas, we originally had $300. I'm going to budget $225 because we filled the tank once while we were here. So propane, we had budgeted $48, which was for January and February. We didn't spend any propane for January. So I'm actually going to just divide that back down to what would be for just February. Same thing with laundry. We're able to do laundry here at my brother's room, my brother's laundry room. So we didn't spend anything January, and we're most likely going to be here for all of February. So actually, I'm going to take off laundry expenses altogether for February. Diapers, I'm actually going to say $57. And what I'm doing, in case you're wondering, is I'm taking what we've taken out for diapers versus what we have left, so I know how much we actually spent out of the 80 to make what's left for February, and that may not make any sense. We have 20 for a dump station. We didn't have to go. like I mentioned, we've been having issues with the RV. We can't really drive anywhere. There's a RV park about 5 miles away from my brother's, and none of the RV parks around have an actual dump station that we can go to, but they do have full hookups. So we're actually probably going to just spend one night at this campsite just so we can have the full hookups to dump our tanks. Otherwise, the other dump station we ended up utilizing was at a city park that was a free dump station, but it was 30 miles away, and the RV is just not even capable of driving that far right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put 25 towards the campsite, because that's what it was. Do 25 for each in case we end up having to go again. I don't know. So cell phone 90, Adobe Cloud 1062, RV car insurance is 99. That. Alright, so personal care, I budgeted 40 for both months, and we actually spent all but $2 of it. So I'm just saying the $2 what we have left. Household, we spent 20 of that, so 20. And I can adjust these numbers if we need to. Okay, so we had 800 put aside for RV maintenance, our RV maintenance / replacement fund, because we do need 2 new tires on the front, and we need an alignment. However, now we have quite a few other issues, one of which we fixed and now is no longer fixed. One we have not fixed from the original time, and then another one is a whole new problem, which isn't actually a pretty expensive problem. So we're going to keep the 800 towards there, even though we did end up purchasing a little filter thing that we thought was going to fix one of the problems, but it didn't. And then originally I was going to put aside money for the car RV registration. Basically, the car registration isn't due till July, so I'm just going to take that out completely, and we'll see what we have at the end, because we don't need any of those. Okay, so our fund money, we budgeted 200. We were trying to do 100 each month, and I think we're still over budget, so we're not going to be able to even put anything in our fund category this month. That 49.18 is going to have to come out of the maintenance. So if you see what I did there, so now I have a 0. So I've told every dollar where to go. The problem here, though, is that realistically, we're not going to be able to go an entire month without at least eating out a couple times. Now, we are starting the Primal Blueprint 21-day Total Body Transformation Challenge this coming week. So one of the challenges in there is basically it's a diet fitness type challenge, and it's to cut out basically all of that processed food, cutting out the fast food chains and things like that. So we're going to try not to eat out. However, there are a couple challenges where it challenges you to go eat, not at necessarily a fast food, but maybe at a sit-down restaurant, and order off their menu, like the primal way of eating. So I do want to make sure we have some money for that, for the eating out. So I'm going to go ahead and still put 100 in here, because that's just, realistically, that's what we're probably going to end up spending that, maybe a little bit more. So that's the thing too, when you guys are working your budget, yeah, you're going to try to budget, and you're going to try to accomplish your goals, but be realistic. If you spend a certain amount of money in a certain area, and you've tried and you can't seem to cut back on it, then budget for it, and that's fine. So I'm going to change this now to 650.82. Alright, so that gives me back to my 0. Now again, we're going to be using our tax refund to hopefully fix everything on the RV, so maybe we won't have to spend as much by having some of it saved here. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through, I have my budget, I'm going to go through here and go ahead and take out the amounts that I spent in January. Alright, so now there should be nothing here. However, because we have our cash envelopes, I'm going to go ahead and put what's still in my cash envelope out of this month's budget. Because it's not in the bank account, I have it in cash. And I hope that makes sense to you guys. And these two, Arcadia and Elsa, that's their savings account from commission jobs that they have. We're currently not doing commission jobs because we are on a tight budget, but they still have some money saved. Good, so that should show me what I have in my bank account based on my other number. Here I knew I had $15.05 in the bank, and I had $212 cash, so that's what I got. Good. So one last thing I got to do to clean up my budget here is I'm going to take off on my due dates here. I'm going to take these off because now I'm only in February. I'm not doing January and February, except for the 3 that actually have specific due dates. And again, this helps you, if you have specific due dates, it helps you, say you got a paycheck on the 15th, you know that paycheck needs to cover that bill that's due on the 17th. Or if you have a bill like I do on the 17th, but you don't get paid till the 20th, you know it needs to be covered, the paycheck before. So again, this budget's pretty quick, you guys. I've been doing budget report cards and my budget with me videos. I have a year's worth or more of these types of videos. So if I went through it pretty quick and you're a little confused of what I'm doing, you can always look back at my other videos and get a sense for how I budget and what's going on. Yeah, so basically there's my February budget now, and then I'm going, the next week I'll share with you guys our income expense report for January, so you can see how we spent or how we stayed on budget for January. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.